Next on deck with Tim Black.
The entire globalist neocon establishment that is perpetually dragging us into endless wars, pretending to fight for freedom and democracy abroad.
Now, I want people to recognize that this was done. World War III. Yes, folks, let's talk about World War III and the possibility of it happening because Joe Biden feels unappreciated. Yeah, no one's talking about him. Him dead man walking. This dead man walking has decided the way that he can become essential is to put us on the brink of World War III, guys. With more talk about that, here goes Norm Macdonald of fame, with Debbie Allen fame.
Kremlin warned President Biden is adding fuel to the fire by allowing Ukraine to use long-range U.S. missiles that can strike targets inside Russia. The military calls the missiles ATACMS. One Russian lawmaker today said firing them over the border could lead to World War III. CBS's Holly Williams is in Ukraine tonight.
Ukraine's been using American-supplied ATACMS against Russian forces since last year. Some of the missiles have a range of close to 200 miles. But before now, the US had refused the Ukrainians permission to hit targets inside Russia, concerned about an escalation in the conflict. Colonel Maxim Balagura of Ukraine's state border guard hinted last month about what the Ukrainians could attack with the powerful US weapons.
If the US would allow you to use ATACMS to hit Russia, what difference would that make?
If the Russians don't have any ammunition or any planes, then manpower won't matter, he told us. In recent months, Russian forces have been gaining ground and targeting Ukraine cities with deadly glide bombs, Soviet-era ammunition retrofitted with wings and GPS. Last month, we witnessed the aftermath of a small glide bomb in this residential neighbourhood.
You can see the devastation that it's wreaked. It's literally ripped the front off the building.
And now Russia's military's been bolstered by more than 10,000 North Korean soldiers. They may join an offensive to retake territory in Kursk in southern Russia, where Ukraine launched an audacious incursion in August. In September, Vladimir Putin said that if the US allowed Ukraine to use ATACMS inside his country, it would mean that America and Russia are at war.
Some Ukrainians fear that President-elect Donald Trump could try to pressure their government into negotiating with Russia. If that happens, using the ATACMS now could give Ukraine a better bargaining position. Nora?
That's certainly on the table.
Yeah, which is precisely why Biden did it, right? Yeah, he wanted to give Ukraine a better bargaining position. That's what it appears. That's sort of like the consensus I'm getting for people that are talking about this. But I like to start here because, you know, I'm kind of a jackass. Horrible name. ATACMS. All I kept thinking was I'd like a cheesesteak, but not a steakums. ATACMS. I don't know. I know it's an acronym, right? But it just seems you're going to buy some ATACMS. You're going to give them some ATACMS. Thought it would be more sophisticated name. You know, ZBDB 2462, Death Shadow, Death Pulverizer, you know, something. ATACMS? Yeah, Biden must have named this. You don't have no ATACMS, you ain't black. It's real deal. Real deal, not a joke. You know, some people voted for Trump just because of issues like this, because they saw Biden for what he is, a war-hungry, war-mongering jackass. No longer are the Democratic Party the people of peace. In fact, they are the people that are trying to leave us in pieces as they all run for their bunkers. It's amazing how many people supported Kamala that are now suddenly worried about World War III when she was Hillary Clinton with a tan, with a cackle, a higher pitched cackle. So the cackle. You know, Donald Trump, he spoke to this. Here goes Donald Trump's response.
Never been closer to World War III.
Wow. God doesn't mince words, does he? That's kind of how I'm inspired to start the show tonight. Gonna ease into it, Trump, maybe?
We have never been closer to World War III than we are today under Joe Biden. A global conflict between nuclear-armed powers would mean death and destruction on a scale unmatched in human history. It would be nuclear Armageddon. Nothing is more important than avoiding that nightmare. We will avoid it, but we need new leadership. Every day this proxy battle in Ukraine continues, we risk global war. We must be absolutely clear that our objective is to immediately have a total cessation of hostilities. All shooting has to stop. This is the central issue. We need peace without delay. In addition, there must also be a complete commitment to dismantling the entire globalist neocon establishment that is perpetually dragging us into endless wars, pretending to fight for freedom and democracy abroad.
Now, I want people to recognize that this was done. This was done before the election, okay? So this is Trump, putting a little spice on it too, because beforehand. But things may have gotten worse. Things have gotten worse since before the election. When Trump put this out, this was before Biden had given Ukraine to go ahead with its ATACMS. What was that last statement that we heard from Putin, or regards to Putin, saying an attack from Ukraine using these ATACMS with American missiles would be tantamount, or would be American and Russia, would mean America and Russia are at war. Now, they say that, Putin has a way with words himself, not unlike Trump, in being dramatic with his, fear-mongering to a certain degree. But I say we've been at war all this time. It just hasn't been with America's on the front lines. I mean, this has been a proxy war from day one. Without us, Ukraine would not be going up against Russia. And now that Trump has won the presidency, he's going to go in and try to get a peace thing done immediately. So it looks like the reason why they went on ahead with this is they want to help Ukraine get as far as they can to have more negotiating ability. I don't know how they won't negotiate, how they will have more negotiating ability. Trump's not going to back this. Trump's not going to back Ukraine. Trump's going to come in. I imagine, who am I? But I believe that Trump will come into office, and one of the first things, he's already working on this. He's already talking to Zelensky. He's already talking to Putin. Yeah, I find it really difficult for people to try to make the argument that Trump is worse on foreign policy than Biden. But see, those people watch MSNBC and CNN, and they don't realize, for some reason, they can't put two and two together, that the Democrats are not a party of war. I think both parties are, but Trump is not the Republican Party per se. And that's part of my thing when I say, folks, I believe that Trump was the lesser evil. They're going all in the same direction, but I feel like Kamala definitely gets us to World War III a lot sooner. Trump is trying to avoid wars. The Democratic Party is moving us head steam into more wars. They are co-signing wars. They got people thinking or believing that somehow supporting Ukraine is a good idea. We've been on this channel since we reported it back when the onslaught, back when it began, when they were just calling it a conflict. I was already then saying that it was crazy for Ukraine to get installed in this, that there was no way America was going to go all the way to the wall with this, that they were going to leave them stuck out there on an island by themselves dealing with the aftermath. And if that's exactly what's coming down here, it did not take a rocket scientist to realize that America is not in it. Not really trying to put skin in the game. Maybe some money in the game, and what turns out to be a money-making opportunity, more or less. Where, not even more or less, it is. Because when we give them or when we sell them or we give them money, they spend the money with us. Look, I'm gonna need you to run to the store, pick up a few things. Make sure you go to Tim Black's merchandise store now. So for me, this is an expense that I write off, and then you take it and you go take that money and spend it buying what? Something in my store. How's that not corruption? And then when you got the whole ballistic thing from the ballistic standpoint, what's going on the ground there, what's happening is you're weakening Russia. You're trying to anyway. So that benefits America because, we're supposed to be enemies. This show is a U.S. politics show. So it's just so far I can really go just based on not being entrenched in everything that's happening back and forth in this. But I can tell you, just looking at it from here, I mean, why are we talking about World War III? You're doing something. You just did not doing something. You did something. You gave Ukraine the ATACMS. And Putin said this will start World War III. And you do it anyway. And now you're putting us in a position where what will be the retaliation? What will Putin decide to do in response to this overt action? I want to know who's the existential threat. Yeah, maybe we should ask a few of the Democrats who've been saying all this time that Trump was an existential threat. Maybe the existential threat is us. All right. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I think that anything that puts us closer to World War III would be a negative, but I guess some people would say it was a positive if we could just get a black woman or a black Jamaican woman or a black Indian, this woman, a person with a uterus in there, that'd be great. I fail to see your logic if that person gets us all killed. I guess our ghosts could celebrate this symbolic accomplishment. All right, guys, hit the like button if you like this segment. We do what we can here. Glad to help out. Hope that the Kamala people are feeling dumber and dumber every day. Yeah, World War III would be a game changer, don't you think? Ending civilization would be a game changer. Kind of a big deal. Kind of a big deal.